This episode of In a Few Minutes is sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health at betterhelp.com/afew. Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest plays some kind of musical instrument. He's underlined what he calls the good parts of such books as Tropic of Cancer and the Twilight series. He is best known for his work as editor-in-chief of the Mac Observer. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to Mr. Bryan Chaffin. Bryan, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us today. It's so great to have you. It's been so long since we've had you had you on the show. Yeah, we're gonna have to have you back pretty soon. Bryan Chaffin. No, I'm kidding. We got some other stuff to talk about before we say goodbye to you. Since last we talked, I want to say we haven't even talked since WWDC. There's been a lot of stuff to go on. Well, I don't know. Not according to my Skype on the wall there. Of course, Apple has come out with a few things, actually, since last you and I spoke. There's, of course, the iPhone 13 line. Apple Watch Series 7 is freshly on people's wrists as we speak. There's new iPad, new iPad, and then new iPad mini, of course. Out of all that stuff, do I understand correctly what you have is the iPhone 13?
iPhone 13 Pro.
13 Pro. Ooh,
yes.
Okay, because you're a professional.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Let's go with that.
Okay. What did you trade up from, first of all?
I was slumming it with the 12 Pro.
Okay, 12 Pro. So yeah. I want to come to a question in a moment, but let's just talk first about what you've learned with the iPhone 13 Pro. What do you like? What do you dislike? Is there anything you would change about it? Tell me first thoughts.
Well, screen's glorious, but 12 Pro screen was glorious. It is heavier. And what's interesting to me is that it's up top. It's heavier. It's like when I hold it, I feel those lenses like pulling the phone back. Now, in that it was the lenses that I wanted, and the lenses why I upgraded. I'm not going to complain, but it is something that I've noticed. Now, I don't know if I would have noticed if it weren't my job to try to notice things. Mm-hmm. But I do notice it. I did notice it. And those lenses are huge. I mean, and when you're going from an f-stop of 1.8 up to an f-stop of 1.5 or down. It's up in quality, down in f-stop, up inside. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? When you're that is a huge, massive increase. And Apple is just so casual about it that I don't really think that a lot of people outside of the photography world really understand what they were doing there, but those lenses are really, really big. That's the absolute biggest thing that I notice about the iPhone 13 Pro.
I got a couple questions for you. I mean, first of all, you said that, it was the lenses you want, but you also said you came up from an iPhone 12 Pro. I'm assuming it's because of your job as editor-in-chief of the Mac Observer. You were going to get the next, well, not best necessarily because you would have gone Pro Max, but I assumed you were going to get the next phone anyway. Was this a decision like I have decided I want to get the next phone, or the job's the job and you were going to have it anyway?
Well, the job's the job, and I need to have it to be able to talk about it and to be able to write about it. Mm-hmm. That certainly is normally true every year. This was one of the first years where I was like, I don't know. I may stick with the 12 Pro this year. The 12 Pro is such a phenomenally great device. Mm-hmm. But when Apple started talking about that, started talking about those lenses and started talking about that camera and the software that they were doing and all the stuff that is in the iPhone 13 Pro camera-wise, I decided to get it, and I did.
Okay, so is it just the lenses are better, or are you thinking specifically of the macro? What is it? Because you keep talking about the lenses, and the only thing that I noticed, because I assume that that the camera is always going to be better. Like this year's camera is going to be better than last year's camera.
Sure.
Honestly, It'll be interesting to see what goes on with either the 13S or the 14 because components are so hard to get right now. I'm curious how that's going to go a year from now, but that's a year from now. We can worry about that then. Was it the macro thing, or was it just it's going to be better and it's going to be so much better that I want it?
It's, okay, let's be honest. I am not and by let's, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a professional photographer.
Mm-hmm.
I just like taking good photographs, as good as I can.
Mm-hmm.
The depth of field with an f-stop of 1.5 is better than the depth of field with an f-stop of 1.8. Now, 1.8 is great. The camera on the iPhone 12 Pro is great. But when you have a larger lens, you're getting more light onto the sensor, which gives you at least the opportunity of having better images depending on what the device maker is doing with the software and that information. That being Apple in this case. And Apple, of course, has a very good track record of doing all kinds of things with the information and the light and things like that and the data. And like being able to take better low light but the photographs was very appealing to me. Again, that depth of field, the macro stuff is very appealing, and yet I've done nothing with it. I was certainly intrigued by the video stuff where you could change the depth of field after the fact.
Yeah.
I've done absolutely nothing with it. I think a lot of us buy these devices for the better camera and then don't really do much with them. I think that's probably just kind of a fact of life.
Well, my assumption is that the people who actually buy it for the better camera do stuff with it, and the rest of us are like, oh, cool, it's a better camera, right?
Right, but that's most of us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with
the
that.
reality is that the better camera and the stuff that Apple is doing allows people who aren't good photographers to take better photographs, which means that my Instagram feed is going to be better. Right? It just is.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things I said before it shipped, after Apple announced it. I am really interested to see what the what's it called? The cinematic
mode, isn't it?
Cinematic mode, right. Thank you. I'm really interested to see what that does to the social media video world, the TikToks, the Instagram Reels, the YouTube, things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see if we don't end up seeing some really interesting things being done with that, and that segment of the social media world stepping up its game. I mean, honestly, there are a lot of influencers out there, and the people who photograph them or video them, who have already done lots of great things with the iPhone camera and probably also with Android devices. LOL, they all have iPhones, but whatever. And I'm curious to see if this ends up making its way there too.
So I traded up from an iPhone 11 to an iPhone 13. And the pitch that they gave at the California streaming event was, it was fine, but had I not already promised my iPhone 11 to someone else, I think I probably would have held off for another year, which is not to say that I don't really enjoy my 13. Okay, but why? That's my question. Like, yes, I have a better screen, and I like that. Yes, I have a better camera, and I like that. Yes, I have 5G, and I like that, but I didn't feel any deficit when I had my iPhone 11. I'm not sorry I upgraded the iPhone 13, but I don't think there was anything about it that was compelling enough for me as the average user. I guess my question to you is, who needs to upgrade versus, because I don't think anybody's going to be unhappy having upgraded, because the phone is better than the phone you have if you don't have a 13, 13 Pro, 13 Pro Max, or, even a mini. The phone's going to be better, so I don't think you're going to be sorry, but who, in your opinion, having used a number of phones now, needs to make the move to the 13 line?
All right. So firstly, keep in mind that I am an Apple investor. I have a very, very small holding in Apple that I've had for years and years and years. It's never affected what I'm going to say. And the answer is nobody. Unless you want to. The iPhone 10 is still a great device. The 10s is still a great device. The 11 is a great device. The 12 is a great device. I've been a pro user of all those devices, and the Pro camera does tend to be better. But if you who are listening have any kind of semi-recent iPhone and you like it, don't get the NV and don't buy it unless you want to. Really, it's we're at the point where Apple is making such great devices, they should have longer and longer shelf lives.
That's a very interesting thought. Tell you what, something on my wrist just tapped me. I'm going to talk about what that is in just a moment. Bryan, Chaffin, can you stick around?
Yeah, sure.
Everybody else stick around too. There is plenty more after this. How have the last 18 months treated you? If you said fine, cool. And if that's true, even better. If, on the other hand, the world around you has taken a toll, there is help out there. BetterHelp, sponsor of today's show. Let's say you'd like somebody to talk to, a professional who can help you achieve your goals, maybe deal with loss or anxiety. Answer a few questions and BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. Where? Well, they're on your phone or your tablet or your computer, so wherever you need them. You and your therapist connect in a safe and private online environment. That means you can find somebody who deals with your particular need, not just somebody who's close by. And yet you get the same protections as you would heading to somebody's office. The same confidentiality and help. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/AFEW. That's HELP. betterhelp.com/AFEW. As in a few minutes. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that is BetterHelp. HELP. BetterHelp.com/AFEW. And thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. Back now with Bryan Chaffin. He is, of course, editor-in-chief of the Mac Observer. I said before we went to break, Bryan, that something tapped me on the wrist. The thing that tapped me on the wrist, is an Apple Watch Series 7. Now, I understand you're waiting for a Series 7. Is that correct? Not holding off, but you placed your order.
I did.
And they said come back in 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. I did order, that was last Friday?
Well, no, not last Friday, 2 Fridays ago now, but under a week and a half.
Oh, right. Yes, that's how that works.
Yeah, right.
Time. Yeah. Right. So that particular Friday, I did order that morning. However, it was like, I don't know, like 9:10 or something. It was during the TMO morning meeting. And I didn't, I think it's supposed to be delivered sometime in early November.
Yeah, there you go. See, I was still up when the order started. And so at 5:03, I think is when my app let me in, and I lined everything up, and I went to hit place order, and I realized that it had gone from saying that I would get my watch on the 15th of October to saying it would be somewhere between the 2nd and the 8th of November, or maybe the 8th and the 11th of November. I can't remember which. But I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So I canceled it. And then immediately I was like, well, that was dumb because now it's just going to be longer. But then I got a Nike. I went over to the Nike side, and I guess people thought, well, I'm not a runner, so I don't need that. And guess what? I'm only a runner every now and then. I don't need it either, except it got me my watch on the 15th.
Yeah, you are an actual runner.
Well, from time to time. But yeah, so I'm sporting a 45 millimeter Nike Plus Series 7 Midnight. Now,
nice.
I'm really
aluminum?
nervous. Yeah, aluminum. Yeah, because, I would love the look of the stainless steel, but seriously, I would just look at it and go, man, that $300 could have bought me, blank, whatever it is. So, yeah, so I went with the aluminum, but I will admit that I was nervous about having the Midnight, and it's just beautiful. I love it because the black of the screen gets lost in the bezel.
That is excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then also with my leather band. It's weird because I have a brown leather band, and I thought, well, that's never going to go. And it actually works well enough that it makes the watch look almost like a statement piece, which is weird to me because I've never really, the Apple Watch is literally a computer that you wear on your wrist. I would like for it not to look stupid, and it never has looked stupid, but with the Midnight, it actually approaches, I don't want to go so far as to say elegant, but it looks okay. What is it that you're waiting on?
I am waiting on a stainless steel.
Okay.
I got another.
See, you should always look at that and say, oh man, with that $300, I could have bought Ken and then whatever would cost like $300.
My mistake. I'll try to keep that in mind next time. Can I go off on a slight tangent?
Yeah, sure.
So you know that I'm a watch guy, right?
I forgot that. I know that Dave Hamilton, your cohort over at the Mac Observer, is a watch guy. I did not realize how much of one you were.
I am a watch guy. I have a very nice Zenith watch that I'm like, the thing I hate most about Apple Watch is how much I love it, because I never wear my very, very nice Zenith watch anymore. But here's why I mention it. It is a very elegant timepiece.
Yeah.
And then when I I had a custom leather band made by this great strap maker that's kind of like, I mean, it's not like rugged looking, but it's definitely, it's like, it's got, white stitching that you can see with this dark leather band. And I think it made my very elegant timepiece look way, way better than it did with the silly alligator strap that it came with.
Okay, so you're talking about the Zenith. You're not talking about the Apple Watch.
Right. Although I certainly like a nice leather strap with an Apple Watch 2. However, I like to wear my watch in the shower, so hey man, that's calories.
Dude.
It's measuring calories, dude.
I absolutely get it. No, I that leather band that I was talking about earlier, I came back in, was like, I'm going to take a shower. Got in the shower with that leather band, and that's the only time I've not worn my watch in the shower, was the second I realized it. I had to quickly take it off, and then,
Yeah, so I used the Milanese loop, which is, quite waterproof. And I got another Milanese loop only because I don't like any of the other Apple straps.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need another Milanese loop, but I guess if I go to, when I go to sell my 6, I can sell it with the Milanese loop. So, whatevs.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's stainless steel one that I'm waiting on. I had a black space gray. I think my last aluminum one was space gray.
Okay.
And I did like that, but I like the look of the stainless steel.
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't? But again, it was the cost benefit ratio to me, because honestly, it's the grocery store and out for the occasional walk or run. That's it.
Sure.
So nobody's going to see it, right? And I'm not trying to impress anybody at Ralph's, So
me either. I haven't left my house in like a week, except to take my dog out.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Although you could, impress your dog, I suppose. It was just got a couple of minutes here. As people hear this, there's a pretty good chance Apple will have already done the thing that they are going to do tomorrow as we talk, but it's still in our future, even if it's in the listener past. What are you looking forward to? What are you thinking? What are you hoping for? All the above.
Man, I'm looking for an M.X, or I don't even know what to call it. But I want an Apple processor, large iMac, and I'm hoping that they bump the screen up from 27 to something else. Looking forward to that. I want that. I want that on my desk. I want it now. Give me. So
when they say unleashed, you're not doing any Zapruder stuff there? Because my assumption is when they say unleashed that we're looking at laptops tomorrow, that we're not looking at any desktop anything.
Well,
or is just unleashed. I mean, unleashed could be about performance and speed as well. I mean, I think on Mac OS Ken, I talked about a few different things that could mean.
What was California streaming, and that didn't have anything to do with anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, except they kept going to all the different places in California. They did San Diego, they did San Francisco, they did LA. They did a whole. I don't understand their whole California thing. I know they're in California, and that's great. Now, I know that like about 1/10 of the population of the U.S. Lives in California, but that means like
the world's 8th biggest economy.
Okay, sure, that's fine.
7th or 8th.
Oh, well, that's all of that is fine. I don't know if you've noticed, there are lots of places in the country. There are lots of places in California that don't like California. Leaning as hard as they do into the California thing, I just kind of don't get it, because I have lived in California. But they started doing that
before this ridiculous thing happened politically in the country.
Yeah, well, no, true. But I mean, I've lived in California 3 times in my life, like 3 different periods of time in my life I've lived in California. And never once was I like, I'm going to buy a shirt. I mean, it's fine. I like it. I like living in California, but I wouldn't I'm not going to be one of those people who then turns to everybody and says, why don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
All right. And it just struck me as weird. Anyway, so you're looking for an M whatever. Is there anything that you're going to be replacing anything with, or is it just you want to see them do it?
I need a new laptop, and I need a new iMac.
Okay.
I don't need a new iMac. I want a new iMac. I need a new laptop.
Okay.
And I say, maybe I don't even need that because, again, I don't leave my house very often. But if I did leave my house, I need something newer than the MacBook Air that I have. So I think we're going to see those larger 16-inch or whatever replaces it, MacBook Pros. Yeah. I'm hoping that we see the larger iMac too.
I spent a lot of time earlier this year saying that this December was when I would upgrade to an M whatever Mac. And now, having bought a phone and a watch, I'm thinking I'm not going to. But it's not just about the money. It's about when I started thinking about, and when I get the new machine, well, it'll be new. I bought a MacBook Pro, Core i7, Intel, whatever, blah, 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 in 2018. Mm-hmm. And it has not failed me yet, except for the keyboard, which I've now had the keyboard replaced. And so I am to a place with this machine that I'm like, I absolutely love my computer. It does everything I want it to do. It does it exceptionally well. I'm very excited about, the M processor or whatever Apple Silicon processor when it is time to get my next Mac. But I'm not making the move this time, I don't think. Unless, I would love it if they say something at the Unleashed event, that makes me think, well, now I need a new computer, because right now I don't need a new computer. Now, I wouldn't love it because that means spending, however much money. But right now, again, it's sort of like I said about the iPhone 11. There's no deficiency in what I have currently.
Would it help if I said something incredibly controversial and inappropriate so that your traffic spikes? I could start reading from some of those, the good parts.
I see what you're saying. Well, unfortunately,
I don't know. What do you need from me, brother?
Unfortunately, I need to say we're out of time. But it is always a pleasure to have you by, and I do hope, sir, that the next time you're in the area, you'll be pop on by again.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks,
Bryan Chaffin, everybody. Hey, when we come back, Cindy Williams stops by to talk about her recent trip to Eastern Europe. You don't want to miss that. Keep it right here.